Benefits of tender coconut water. The water of tender coconut, technically the liquid endosperm, is the most nutritious wholesome beverage that the nature has provided for the people of the tropics to fight the sultry heat. It has caloric value of 17.4 per 100 gram. It is unctuous, sweet, increasing semen, promoting digestion and clearing the urinary path, says Ayurveda on tender coconut water. Medicinal properties of tender coconut water. Good for feeding infants suffering from intestinal disturbances. Oral rehydration medium. Contains organic compounds possessing growth-promoting properties. Keeps the body cool. Application on the body prevents prickly heat and summer boils and subsides the rashes caused by smallpox, chickenpox, measles, etc. Kills intestinal worms. Presence of selene and albumin makes it a good drink in cholera cases. Checks urinary infections. Excellent tonic for the old and sick. Cures malnourishment. Diuretic. Effective in the treatment of kidney and urethral stones. Can't be injected intravenously in emergency case. Found as blood plasma substitute because it is sterile, does not produce heat, does not destroy red blood cells and is readily accepted by the body. Aids the quick absorption of the drugs and makes their peak concentration in the blood easier by its electrolytic effect. Urinary antiseptic and eliminates poisons in case of mineral poisoning. Here you can see the analysis of mature and tender coconut water. Sugars. Sugars in the forms of glucose and fructose form an important constituent of the tender nut water. The concentration of sugars in the nut water steadily increases from about 1.5% to about 5 to 5.5% in the early months of maturation and then slowly falls, reaching about 2% at the stage of the full maturity of the nut. In the early stages of maturity, sugars are in the form of glucose and fructose reducing sugars, and sucrose non-reducing sugar appears only in later stages, which increases with the maturity while the reducing sugars fall. In the fully mature nut, approximately 90% of the total sugars is sucrose. Minerals. Tender coconut water contains most of the minerals such as potassium, sodium, calcium, phosphorus, iron, copper, sulfur and chlorides. Among the minerals, more than half is potassium, the concentration of which is markedly influenced by potash manuring. Tender coconut water, being rich in potassium and other minerals, plays a major role to increase the urinary output. Protein. Coconut water contains small amounts of protein. The percentage of arginine, valine, cysteine and serine in the protein of tender coconut water are higher than those in cow's milk. Since it does not contain any complex protein, the danger of producing shock to the patients is minimized. Vitamins. Tender coconut water contains both ascorbic acid and vitamins of B group. The concentration of ascorbic acid ranges from 2.2 to 3.7 mg per milliliters, which gradually diminishes as the kernel surrounding the water begins to harden. Minimal processing of tender coconut water. Perishability of tender coconut is relatively high, and once the tender coconuts are detached from the bunches, its natural freshness will get lost within 24 to 36 hours even under refrigerated conditions unless treated scientifically. The bulkiness of tender coconut is due to the husk, which accounts for 2/3 of the volume of tender nut. Handling of tender coconuts will be easy if a major part of the husk is removed. But, when partial removal of husk is done, the color of the nut will be changed to brown, thereby reducing the attractiveness of the nut. Technologies for minimal processing of tender coconut have been developed for retaining the flavor and to prevent discoloration. The technology for minimal processing of tender coconut developed by Kerala Agricultural University (KAU) involves dipping partially dehusked tender coconut in a solution of 0.50% citric acid and 0.50% potassium metabosulfate for 3 minutes. The product can be stored up to 24 days in refrigerated condition at 5 to 7 degrees centigrade. By using this process, tender coconut can be transported to distant place served chilled like any other soft drink. Optimized uniform size facilitates using of plastic crates and insulated chill boxes for transporting and storage. Preservation and packing tender coconut water in pouches or aluminum cans. The Coconut Development Board, in collaboration with Defense Food Research Laboratory, Mysore has developed the technology for packing tender coconut water in pouches or aluminum cans with shelf life of more than 6 months under normal ambient condition and 12 months under refrigerated condition. There are about half a dozen units in India avail this technology and doing commercial production. The technology is available to entrepreneurs at a total lump sum transfer fee of Rs 3 lakhs. Snowball Tender Nut. Snowball Tender Nut is a tender coconut without husk, shell and texture, which is ball-shaped and white in color. Coconut of 8-month-old is more suitable for making SBTN, in which there is no decrease in quantity of tender water and the kernel is sufficiently soft. The process has been developed for making the SBTN. Important steps involved in the process are dehusking the nut, making groove in the shell and scooping of the tender kernel in ball shape without breakage by using a scooping tool. The groove has to make by using a machine which is under the progress of development. Please remember, health is wealth.